Welcome to the shooting show. This week we're roe stalking in the Scottish Borders, plus Byron visits the Stalking School in Forres. Arriving on a crisp, misty morning, Byron joins stalker Steve Gray on Blackhew Estate in the Scottish Borders.
I'm a deer stalker in the Borders. My main objective is to ensure that restock that's planted gets established, and because it's all grant aided, so you know, the landowners have to ensure that that is established within 5 years, otherwise the grant aid has to be paid back.
With the rifle loaded and safe, they set off towards some winter game cover. Within moments they spot the first roe deer coming out of the woods, but a clear shot doesn't present itself. Steve and Byron have to watch the roe pass by into a distant field and out of sight. Stalking further on, Steve spots a different roe, but opts to leave it as a backup. Large areas of this estate have new plantations. These are vulnerable to deer damage, and it is essential their numbers are kept in check to ensure the trees become established.
Somebody that's culling deer, for numbers, for tree protection, has different objectives to somebody that's having deer numbers for taking clients out. So we are pretty hard on the deer. We obviously we shoot out a season. We've got permission of the landowner to do that. Yeah, it is very challenging, especially when neighbours haven't maybe got the same objectives as yourself. So you get migration of deer, and yeah, there's always deer to shoot.
Moving through mature woodland, they come across a buck through the trees, but the buck senses something is amiss and moves off. Steve moves on, and it's not long until he spots another two roe. This time they are does. They are skylined and there is no safe shot, so he crawls into position and waits. Patience is the name of the game. A clean shot may present itself, or the roe may never come. That's the nature of stalking. After a long time, something spooks the roe and they skip off towards the safety of the forest. Just out of camera shot, Steve drops the first doe. With the crack of the shot, the second doe runs into the open. A swift but careful shot drops it on the spot. After checking the first beast is down, Steve makes his way over to the second animal. In keeping with best practice, Steve checks the roe for any eye response to confirm death. The shot's conclusive, so Steve drags the beast off to a suitable location for the gralloch. That's two less roe to cause damage in the plantation.
What is it in particular that causes the problem for the foresters?
Mainly they'll browse leaders on the young trees. They'll get planted, trees will get planted, they're maybe 40-50 centimetres when they're planted. When that deer comes along and browses the top off, a side branch then takes over as a leader, and then, you know, in 50 years' time, when the trees get harvested, that is then a twisted tree, which is less favourable to the sawmills.
Through the trees, another deer comes into view. This time it's a buck, but Steve's out-of-season licence allows him to take it. With only a neck shot available, he takes his time and collapses the beast where it stands.
We'll shoot under general licence that's issued from SNH, but obviously the new Wayne Bill Act says that you can't do that before the 31st of August. But once you're past the 31st of August and you're shooting in an enclosed area, you can shoot does under general licence as long as you've got permission of the landowner, and he can justify it. Obviously, if we've got damage, it can be justified to SNH, so it's quite acceptable. It's good growing ground down here where we are this morning, but it's the trees are very vulnerable for the first few years, and we try and keep the damage levels below 10% on our restock. The sort of history of the place is that the average is 5% or less, so we're managing to achieve what we're aiming to do.
With 3 row down, it's been a job well done. Now it's time to head back to the larder. Well, another tree over here successfully larded. And now, the Shooting Show news.
This is the Shooting Show news. Rural employers need to update their systems to cope with tighter employment regulations from HMRC, a rural business group has warned. Under the new real-time information system, in force from next year, even a day's beating must be filed in the payroll properly with full names, dates of birth and national insurance numbers. The Safri Champness Group said the regulations meant Shoot's cash-in-hand culture had to come to an end, and there would be heavy penalties for estates that did not comply. More in the December issue of Modern Gamekeeping, out this week. Details of the 2013 Handicap Classic, in association with Clay Shooting magazine, have been announced. The competition, held at Royal Berkshire Shooting School, will begin on Monday the 14th of January and run for 14 weeks, with the final to take place in May. Entries will be £45 with a 12% discount for Browning and Moray users. There will be cash prizes each week, and the overall high gun of the competition will receive a Browning Heritage. The highest scoring Browning or Moray user will receive a Moray MK60. Full details will be in the January issue of Clay Shooting, out on the 13th of December, or at clay-shooting.com. It's the last week to respond to the Law Commission's consultation on wildlife law. The closing date for submissions is Friday, and this week the Countryside Alliance expressed some concerns over the proposed changes to the law. It said integrating animal welfare offences into wildlife management law would not be appropriate and opposed the introduction of vicarious liability law in England. Have your voice heard and submit your response to wildlife@lawcommission.gsi.gov.uk. And finally, are you getting the most out of your shoot this season? Basque and Country Sports Southwest have published an online marketing guide for shoots. The guide offers a host of tips on how to fill those unsold days and keep the guns coming back for more. There's advice on designing a website for your shoot, putting on themed days, adding value to your shoot, and even the best way to price shoot days. Download the guide from countrysportssouthwest.co.uk. That was the Shooting Show news.
Do you know your stalking sticks from your sitting shots? Byron has visited the Stalking School in Moray to learn the proper technique from the best in the business. Today's lesson is shooting positions.
Shooting from buy sticks. As we're walking along, rifle carried on the right shoulder, flick the sticks out in front, swing the rifle off. The front of the rifle is taken care of by the sticks. So there's not a lot for this hand to do. The most useful thing it can do is brace forward on the stick. So I'm putting pressure forward on the sticks there. Right arm fairly close in, the position of the legs out the front takes care of movement that way. The only wobble that's going to come is going to come from myself, so I need to set my legs to complement those sticks. Frequently you get people standing too close on, so there's too much of a wobble this way. So you don't want to be square on, but more about 45 degrees and just slightly more than shoulder width apart. And the other key is to have the sticks at a comfortable height. A lot of people bend themselves to meet the sticks or tiptoe to meet the sticks. You're never going to be stable. You just want to be a normal standing position and put the sticks at the right height. With practice, all that can be done quite quickly. Braced forward, 2 deep breaths, take your time, bang. If you find you've got stability problems with twin sticks, you can put a cord or a web strap to here to come back, and you just stand on it and push it away. But if you've got that left arm straight and you're kicking off more or less with your right foot, you should find it fairly stable. If there's going to be any movement, it's going to be left to right, and you can correct that just by moving the position of your foot. This time we've got quad sticks. Effectively the quad is 2 bi sticks together, so deploying them is exactly the same. We've got both sticks held together with the left hand. We can use them as bi sticks, or you bring the back right the way back, so it's up against the sling swivel at the rear here. Now this set of sticks, this internal pole is slightly shorter, so it's out of the way. Some people prefer to leave them the same length. If that's the case, you take the sticks forward and you would have them there. You still get a reasonable amount of stability, but the further you can have those apart, the more stable it'll be. Exactly the same as with the bi sticks. You fit the sticks to fit you. Don't bend down or tippy toe to get a good picture. You should be able to see quite clearly, stand quite comfortable. The downside with quad sticks, if you need to move left or right, the only way you're going to do it, because you've got that extra set of sticks, no amount of wobbling is going to get you very far. You have to up sticks quite literally and cant round. But the most common mistake people make is if you want to move up or down, they lift the rifle out of the back. So this is giving you no support whatsoever. You've just got to remember that up or down is just rock forwards and backwards. Sitting shot. I say sitting as opposed to kneeling because basically get as low as you can. No matter what your position is, the lower to the ground you are, the less movement you'll have. The fewer joints in your body that are between you and something solid, the less movement you'll have. And sitting is one of the best ways to get that bit extra height to, say, shoot over heather or maybe a low crop or hedge. First of all, in terms of position, face away maybe at 45 degrees from the angle you intend to shoot at, and don't be afraid to dig in so your feet are fairly solid. You've got your knees comfortably apart. The worst thing you can now do at this stage is attempt to put bone to bone, because you've got 2 curved joints resting on top of each other and you're going to get wobble. You want to go flat to flat. Now with people without my power band, will probably be able to get the back of their arm along the front of their shin. More power to you, but I don't feel the cold as much as you do. But resting on the inside of the knees to the outside of the elbows, that's actually fairly stable. And effectively what a 2-piece sling does is connect the top of your supporting arm to the wrist on your supporting arm, and it takes out all movement between the two. With practice this can be done much quicker than I'm doing it, but you put the loop as high up the bicep as possible, cinch it down with the keeper, left hand round so that the sling is actually pulling straight back on the sling swivel stud. Otherwise, regardless of your stock or how well it's put in, you will generate enough pressure on this to rip your sling swivel stud straight out. So with that done, the sling here is quite slack, it's not exerting any tension. With that done, my left arm is now locked, the rifle stays in position just through tension. If I can now get that knee up to contact the elbow, all the stability from my leg up through my arm, it's rock solid. Put onto this side to stabilise the back, and you have a very solid position. With practice, you can assume that sling in maybe 5 or 6 seconds, and the advantage it gives you is worth taking that time if you've got it.
That's it for this week from a very windy and wet Scotland. We're out every Monday, 7:30 p.m. UK time. This is The Shooting Show.